Hey everyone, I thought I would make a video about how to understand the Old Testament. The Old Testament is a little hard to follow, a little hard to understand how it's relevant to our lives today. So I wanted to do this in our Wednesday night Bible studies, but I'm picking up the fact that some of the things we're reading in the Old Testament are just too hard to follow. So if we have a good understanding of what the Old Testament is, we could be able to follow a little bit of what it's saying. It's not an easy process. We can't learn it quick, but we can start learning little by little, and it will start to make sense. Okay, so the Old Testament, the way it's arranged in our Bibles, English Bibles, has four main parts. The first part is the Pentateuch. The Pentateuch it just means 5 books. Okay, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. It's also called the Torah in the Hebrew Bible. You might have heard the Jews referring to the Torah, and all that means is the law. And these 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, this is called the law, or the Pentateuch, or the first 5 books of the Bible. That is the first section. It has a little bit of history, starting from Adam and ending with Moses. It also has, obviously, a lot of laws. That's why it's called the Book of the Law. And then we have the next section in our English Bibles. These are the historical books, and they go from Joshua to Esther. That's it. All of Israel's history is incorporated and limited only to these books, Joshua to Esther. Limited may not be the right word, because there could be history in these books as well. But my intention in using that word is to draw your attention to the fact that all of Israel's history is basically contained in these books, Joshua through Esther. That's all. And a little bit of history here as well. And I'll explain briefly what the history of the Old Testament is, and maybe in another video. So that's history. And then we have poetry here from Job. These are poetical books: Job, Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. These are poetical. And then we have a big chunk here, prophets. These are called prophets, the prophet. So we have Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel. And these books, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentation, Ezekiel, and Daniel, these books are the major prophets. Probably just Ezekiel. Yeah. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentation, Ezekiel. These are major. And from Daniel, we have the minor prophets. Basically, major means big books, and minor means small books. And this is the important thing that I want you to know, is that all of this information, all of this big chunk of the Bible, all of these events, they're all happening in this span here, 1 Kings through 2 Chronicles. I mean, you could say 1 Kings and 2 Kings, because Chronicles are basically a repetition of Kings, but from the southern Judah perspective. And so all of this information, all these prophets were active during the time of the kings in Israel. They were prophesying in the time of the kings about a coming destruction of Israel and the temple because of their sin. So that is what all of that's about. And that's it. These are the 4 main sections that you need to know. I think you should write that down in your own Bibles just for your reference. But here's if you want to take a This is a bigger font for you. The Pentateuch, the historical books, poetry, and the prophets. Okay, Daniel is also a major prophet. So that's the structure of the English Bible.